Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow students. My name is Kulufelo, and I'm chairperson of the Young Professionals Committee here at SAPEX, and I'm also a student, currently in my final year of studies at UNISA. Before I introduce our guest for today's session, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today, and I hope that you'll find today's conference insightful and nurturing. Please feel free to type any questions that you have in our dialog box, and we'll be sure to answer any questions before concluding the session. So our speaker for today is no stranger to SAPEX because she's done a couple of webinars for us before, and I can gladly say that she has yet to disappoint. So you guys are definitely in for a treat. So the topic for today's session is your future resume. Advance your career in 2020. And our speaker is CHANTAL KADING. So just to give you a little bit on her bio, CHANTAL is the founding member and CEO of The People Shop, a human enhancement firm with a mission to raise corporate and social consciousness by forging and nurturing raw talent. She is a registered psychometrist and a certified EQ assessor and facilitator. CHANTAL is passionate about youth development as well as driving professionalism and elevating this discipline into the boardroom. Giving back is close to her heart, and her philanthropy can be seen in her work with the Amy Foundation and the Rising Lotus Foundation. Her personal mission statement is Rifense, to overcome and uplift the grandchildren of Africa who lead the work through unconditional love with the motto business to nationhood. That's our why. Without any further ado, I would like to welcome CHANTAL and thank her for taking the time to be with us. Over to you, CHANTAL.
I almost had it right. I did really almost have it right. All right, Kulafela, I'm hoping that I have got the screen share going. So just checking is sound is on and picture is on, which is a tick. We're going back to screen share and we're going to do this one more time. So just allowing it to get my window up, and now it's not doing what we're supposed to. Kulafela is confirming if you can see my screen. It is not doing.
We can hear you, but we can't see your screen.
Perfect. All right, let me do it one more time. So it's not bringing up my PowerPoint. How magical and fantastical. So I'm going to have to try this one more time. So, good morning. Molo Huemora Salbona, I see you. It is beautiful to be with you on this stage, on this opportunity. We had this deck so super sorted, and it is wanting to just play with us this morning. And there we go. Because sometimes in life, what we have to do is just take a breath. So as I know that you are students and you're on the cusp of having to write great exams and show how much potential you have in you, and also start moving into the career space where you are needing to do interviews, etc. I want to kind of teach you a quick technique in terms of how to manage stresses. So if I press this button one more time, Kolofele, am I correct so that you can see my PowerPoint slides? So quick technique just to kind of ground all of us, because Tech kind of said this, we need a pause moment. When in doubt, when you're under pressure and you need to kind of just recenter yourself, as you're sitting there with your feet on the ground, is just start all your awareness and move down to your feet. Just sort of wiggle your toes and just become aware of the ball of your foot and the heel of your foot as it is grounded and supported on the earth. Then move that awareness up for me to your legs and to your chair. And notice where you're seated and how you are grounded and supported by the chair that you're sitting in. And then gently move your awareness up to your breath and to your heart space. And just notice how you're breathing in and out. And for the next couple of minutes, I'm just going to allow us just to kind of do a guided breath. And just on your next in-breath, we're going to breathe in for 2, hold in our heart space, and then breathe out for 4. So on your next in-breath, just breathe in for 2, 1, 2. Hold for a moment in your heart space, and breathe out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, we're going to breathe in through the nose for a count of 2, 1, 2, Holding for a moment in your heart space and breathe out for 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time in through the nose for a count of 2, 1, 2. Hold for a moment in your heart space before releasing 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Come back into our virtual conference room. So that is a mindfulness seat and feet, and it is really powerful. And if there's a comments box, I'm sure you can kind of check or kind of just comment in there, kind of saying how you're feeling. But what kind of happens is just like kind of taking all the tension, all the nerves, and literally drop it all out your feet, and kind of just feel how you're supported by the ground on your chair. And then by kind of increasing your out breath longer than your in breath, what actually happens from a neurological and a biological perspective is by increasing your out breath, you stay in your relaxation nervous system for longer, your parasympathetic nervous system. So by just increasing your out breath longer than your in breath, you'll biologically calm your body down and stay in your calm, relaxed state, your rest and digest state for longer and get more dopamine released. So next time you go into an interview or you're going to prep for something where the pressure is on, seat and feet and increase the out breath. So let's kind of get cracking and kind of do some low flying. So my first question is, who would you like to work for? So what you can do kind of just is comment in the comment box is who would you like to work for? Kulafelo, if you are still with me, you are my eyes and ears. Just kind of first 2 words, people kind of pop in there, just kind of give me a word. Whatever gets typed in it. Who would you like to work for? You've got so many options left. Who would you like to work for? Britt, I will take a time watch from you, or you can just write them down for me every 5 minutes. Any comments coming through, Kolo?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so what I'm hearing is
we have one. Tesla.
Yes. And Tesla.
Yes.
Okay, great. Who's
see Amazon.
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah.
Unilever.
Oh, those are incredibly wonderful companies.
And one says myself.
Yes.
Jenny.
Who's that name?
Jenny.
Jenny, at the end of the session, when I stop this camera, you and I will talk, young lady, because officially you are the brain of the day. Because that's the answer. You can get paid for service by Tesla, by Unilever, by these incredible companies who I respect and admire. But at the end of the day, you work for you. And as of this moment on, you are the CEO of Me Incorporated. You want to run and manage and brand yourself in every step you take in your career going forward. The brand of you is your most primary job and career you want to run. Business used to be about what you know. In our parents and our parents' parents, it was about if you're in education, you were secured a job. Then it became about who you know. If you know the right people in the right companies, then you'll get a job. We're now living in a digital, disrupted, black swan, social media, cold winds kind of world. It's now about who knows you and what do they know about you. You being able to craft your life and craft your brand has never been more important. So the question is, what do you have to supply? You want to ensure that you differentiate yourself, that you are unique, and that you are creating a brand which is commercially valuable to those who want to buy it. Be that a Tesla, a Unilever, any organization, you want to ensure that you are putting the best brand forward. Your secret is to stand out in person, on paper, and online. You need to know who you are, what you do, and how you do it. The best interviewers are people who are great storytellers. Know yourself and sell your brand. Your value proposition is a combination of your track record, which for you currently it's new, right? But do not forget the power of your education is your initial track record. What did you do at school? What did you do at varsity? Right? If any of you are still kind of studying further next year, is take the time to spread your wings and get involved in extramurals, cultural, sport elements, charity work. Build your track record. What you're capable, what you're getting skilled and educated by, your character. As a business owner for the last close to 20 years, I will take attitude, ethic over any education every day of the week. Because work ethic, to find a good, strong work ethic, is rare in our society right now. No matter what your track record is, you can trump things with great character, great attitude, and great work ethic. Your potential in my mind is unlimited. I believe that we are a vessel of unlimited potential. And I hope that every talent inside of you is shouting for you to see how far you can take your talent and take your skills. More than anything else is be reliable. That is your top quotient, which you want to balance out over your cost and the risk. In business today, there are so many companies who are fighting the elements. We are living, as I said, in black swans and craziness. And you want to make sure that you are able to bring yourself forth as someone who is not risky business. You want to be someone who's seen as stable, reliable, and someone who is talent. Your portfolio of evidence is what we speak about in our business. It's not a resume, right? It's a portfolio of evidence. And what is a portfolio of evidence? It is a summarization. It is proof of what it is you've been able to deliver over a period of time. It is kind of portfolio of your past. And the goal is to be able to create a portfolio of evidence and a career of longevity, of profit, of legacy. Your resume is your track record. Your educational knowledge, we're going to speak about the next thing, and your personal image, your brand. Those are the three critical elements you want to start engaging on as a student. And what's really important is to consider the facts and the myths. Because what we do in terms of resumes and what people do and what CV readers and clients and people you want to impress are looking at is they read between the lines. And so what we're going to do is go through with you through a couple of tips around a CV. And what you'll find is on the, I think on the content sharing page, Kolofelo and Cindy, and they will kind of help me, is I did kind of give these notes to you in a PowerPoint format, in a PDF, so welcome to please kind of utilize them afterwards, just a little bit of guidance. So it's going to go through a traditional CV, a portfolio of evidence, part one. First is biographical detail. So big picture, your CV will always comprise of a number of areas. Biographical details, education. You can put in some differentiators, which is your competencies and your assessments. It's one of our key differentiators. And then your work experience, and thereafter maybe supporting documents. And those for me are separate. This would include your cover letter, your transcripts, your ID, your driver's license. Those are your supporting documents and reference. You always want to have those ready. Let's get into curriculum vitae in terms of biographical detail first. So a quick couple of stories, and I've got to keep my eye on the watch here, is first thing first is contact details. I can think of a supply chain executive who sent me his CV about 4 years ago, and I was blown away by page one. I was off my seat by page two. I had the phone in my hand by the last page, and guess what? No telephone number. I had to email him to tell him to send me his number. At that point in time, he dropped some of my motivation in terms of wanting to engage with him. Make it easy for someone to find you. I don't care if you put your mother's number on there, your neighbor's number, smoke signal, whatever is required, make it easy for someone to find you. Email, telephone number, and an alternative number as far as you can. I think I wouldn't need to convert you guys, but Google is super powerful to give you a email address which is free, as well as place to store your additional data, your additional supporting documents. So as long as you're able to get data to be at an internet cafe, you can reach your supporting documents anytime, anywhere. The next thing is ID and date of birth. The reason people have their ID on there is they want to see how old you are. And the beautiful thing for many of you is as youth is you are a in-demand grouping at the moment. So specifying your ID shows that you're a youth, and again, that's in demand at the moment. If you're not a South African citizen, what's good to put on there still is not to just remove your ID or your passport number, but just to add your date of birth. The next one's location is state where you're from. You know, if you're applying for a job in Durban, you're based in Johannesburg, then state is I am based in Johannesburg and open to relocation. Again, is the important thing about a CV, it's like an elimination game, right? You want to make sure that you stay in the running to be shortlisted all the way to the last page. The next thing is languages. If we were live, I would have said, please show me how many languages you speak. I oftentimes meet people who are able to speak 4, 5, 6 languages. If you speak languages, note them down, because you may be able to deal with a company who's German and they love that you speak German. In Africa, Portuguese and French is a very valuable language to have. There's a beautiful app called Duolingo, which allows you to learn most languages literally 2 minutes every day. It's a free app. If you've got an ear for languages, learn a language. It's another way to up your skills and your profile. Employment equity, the pecking order is African first, colored second, Indian last, and then white candidates. Woman first, men second. So if you're a person of color, if your gender is noted down on your CV because there is a demand for African women, particularly in the workplace, there's a drive towards an increased demand for that. So specify your equity status. If you are not South African, you're on a work permit, specify I have a work permit, or I'm applying for a work permit, or I'm willing to pay for the fees to get one. Again, make them give you a yes answer. Transport, driver's license, very important. It's really helpful coming to know is that I do have a driver's license, or I don't have a driver's, but I do have my learners, and I'm going for my drivers in the next period. I do or don't have a car, or I'm working towards getting a car, right? Is make it easy for someone saying is you're going to be someone who's going to be reliable because you've got your own transport, you do have a license, etc. Make it easy for someone to want to consider you. Criminal credit default, if you should have a credit default against your name, investigate it. In other words, it's either E or TransUnion, which allows you to actually do a free assessment on your credit status. If there is a default against your name for debt of any kind, speak to your creditors, get a payment plan, and get an affidavit saying is I do have a bad record, but I am getting it paid off, and here is an affidavit to prove so. Picture, no picture. It's always great when someone in the audience I can kind of ask, do or don't have one. My vote is have a picture. On an A4 piece of paper, a picture no bigger than an ID size picture. Head and shoulders, it's not an ID so you can smile. You want to be humanized. We oftentimes just using letters and digits on a piece of paper. When you put a picture on, you become human. So A4 piece of paper, a picture no bigger than an ID size, and add a smile. Biography are covered. Education. In terms of education is always go from your most recent or highest education down to your most lowest. Computer literacy. I've seen so many wonderful students who've made the extra effort to kind of learn something like a Python or R, which is very prevalent kind of in the data analytics kind of environments we're finding. So make the effort to study another kind of computer literacy because that is super keen at the moment or super valuable at the moment is being able to have technologies you can use. Secondary education, it stays important. It's not just your postgraduate education which is important. When I did not pay you to be a leader, were you a leader? When I did not pay you to be a team player, did you play in sports teams? Were you involved in academics, sport, cultural, community work? Marks, when you failed something, don't note it down. If you pass with distinction, note it down. Write down any achievements, any awards. You want to kind of show yourself up as talent. The next thing I was quoted in a publication a couple of years ago for this quote is that qualifications means nothing if you have it. It means everything when you don't have it. I encourage you, if you're in your studies and it's hard, see it through, get the qualification. Once you have it, no one's going to care that you do. But if you don't have it, it's going to be a stumbling block which prevents you from being able to enter the door. And as you go further in your life is make an effort to always be a student of life, of work, always continue to educate yourself. I deal with CEOs and executives who are trying to move into the C-suite and say, Michelle, but you know, how am I looking for education? I said, the last time you said it was when you were a 20-year-old. You are now in your 40s, is stay a student. Keep going back and uplifting your education base so that your knowledge stays prevalent and relevant. The next one is attributes. Is oftentimes what we're looking for is people's competencies. And when you don't have experience, what's a very valuable way to almost kind of prove what is within you, your potential, is to do psychometric assessments. So in our assessment practice, we use assessments as the key differentiator. Being able to know what someone's career values are, interest, what your cognitive ability is, your behavioral style, your personality, your strengths and weaknesses, is even though you don't have a lot of work experience, if you do psychometric assessments, it's a great way for someone to get a picture of who you are and how you're going to behave in the workplace. So if you want to differentiate yourself, is get some assessments done and add them to your curriculum. Key competence is what people are looking for. It's about being able to say is teamwork. If you played in sports teams, I will know that you are a team player. If you were able to show examples of in my final year project at Varsity, I was the team lead and we had to make a number of decisions, it shows that. Your CV communicates your written communication, makes you spell check it 5 times over. Your verbal communication comes out in your interview, in your telephone manner. Make sure that you sharpen those business ethics. Those business practices are critical. As I said, ethics, trustworthiness is the core foundation of what's required for business today. And the biggest game changer, emotion intelligence. Kolofelo, as a lecturer and a student, I would oftentimes challenge lecturers and educators, because I do a lot of work with teachers, is that knowledge is not power. You're a student right now, but knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. If you are able to take the knowledge that you're gaining and you utilize it, you work with it, you mold it, you grow it, that's power. And emotion intelligence is one of those superpowers that you have. Being able to manage your emotions, be aware of them, being aware of other emotions, that will be a game changer for you for the rest of your career. That is the silver ticket or the golden bullet and the ace up your sleeve to get into leadership. Develop from a young age, as young as you are right now, is get to hone and develop your emotion intelligence. Even more so in this turbulent time that we're living in, resilience, having that bounce back, having the ability to be able to manage your emotions in tough situations, being able to, your EQ is the journey towards your IQ. Your IQ is enabled by your EQ. If you're not able to manage your emotions, you are not able to pick up and bring your full IQ to the table. Agility quotient is kind of the next step up from that. Agility is what I'm teaching some of the best organizations that you've mentioned, is what I'm teaching them on. It's not just to be emotion intelligent or to be smart, but to be agile. If you are able to manage adversity and adapt, they say the waves of change are not going to stop. Your ability to surf them strongly, that is what makes it possible. You want to be someone who surfs the waves of change, who's got flexibility, resilience, and is able to have a mindset that's got staying power, to be able to surf the waves of change masterfully. And that will lead you to be able to have high productivity, be able to perform better, be more innovative, manage your mental health, which is critically important. I've seen that slip with some people I'm executive coaching at the moment, and to be able to manage your emotions and your morale and that of others. In terms of work experience, it's really important that you start off with companies, your title, the dates. If there's gaps, the one way to kind of cover a gap, if you have not kind of worked for a period of a month or two, and I've seen so many students come to me saying, as I matriculated, or I graduated in December and I still haven't worked. One way to cover that is saying is I studied until 2020 and I started working in 2021. Using years instead of months is one way to kind of cover those gaps. What's very important is not what you're responsible for. You want to kind of not regurgitate your entire job spec on a CV or a page or a page and a half. What you want to do is summarize down to 5 to 7 main KPIs, your 5 to 7 main key performance areas of what you want to highlight down. And then the most important thing is outcomes. I don't want to know whether you're a waitress. I want to know how good a waitress are you. I was blessed to work with the Amy Foundation, and when I asked them this question, one of the ladies said is, I was a teller at McDonald's, and I was named Employee of the Month because for a period that my boss was away, I opened and closed the offices. I was acting in the role, and for that, I got Employee of the Month. Whether you are a person who is serving customers at a McDonald's or a supply chain analyst or a logistics developer, you wanting to be able to focus not just on doing your job, but to be able to say is how can I, out of every opportunity I have, make an imprint, leave my stamp on it, be able to achieve something and have outcomes. Not about doing your job 8 to 5, but saying is how do I milk, farm, earn an achievement that I can note down on my CV as opportunity. How good is your performance rating? Are you a 2.5 out of 5? Or do you want to be a 4 out of 5 consistently? What do you need to do to be a 4 out of 5 performer? Reasons for leaving really important. You never want to say you're leaving because you didn't get along with your boss or with your colleagues. Is think carefully about why you want to leave a company. Don't leave a company without having another job in mind. The next one is part-time employment. I very much value part-time employment because if you are able to, if I had the choice between taking a cum laude student at school or at varsity versus a C student who was involved in sports, who had a part-time job, I will always take the B student. Why? Because they can multitask. They can be able to perform higher under pressure. They can be able to diversify themselves. That is really key. So being able to work and study, put on your part-time work, it shows extra commitment. It shows being able to balance more than one responsibility. And as I said, is people trying to read between the lines. So what do they infer by this, right? If you had a 4-5 performance appraisal, you were an excellent performer. If you were able to get promoted in a company more than once, it shows that you had potential to grow. So a couple of kind of key things here is your original documents, save them on a separate drive. So have them accessible on a Google Drive, for example. Your ID, your driver, your certificate, don't add them to your CV. There's nothing worse than kind of getting this 4 megabyte CV coming through with all of the extra things. Keep it clean, keep it simple, ID, references, drivers and certificates available on request. In terms of formatting, we said is keep graphics to minimum. One simple ID size picture is perfect. Size, make sure that you don't add a lot of extra images and all kinds of funky stuff into it. Have your email available soft copy, and always have at least one good copied hard copy with you. If you go to an interview, always just have one in the bag. In case someone forgot to print it, if you look like you're prepared and you got a copy for them, you look like you're prepared, right? You only have one chance to make a great first impression. In terms of fonts, funky stuff, at Times New Roman, Garamond, Arial, Calibri, check them. They've got to look good on the eye, right? Your first impression, as much as you got a first impression in your interview, you also need to make a first impression on that first. It's the look and feel of your CV. It needs to look good. I oftentimes won't use black. I will use like this really dark, rich blue, for example. It's just something, it's something different in the eye. It's got a better look and feel about it. Using a charcoal versus a hard black, again, is make sure that it looks good on your eye, because the first thing they're going to notice. Are they going to get a good feeling? If you look at that first page of CV, does it have a good feeling about it, right? That's your first impression. Spacing, font, consistent, a font of about 12 is good. Bullet pointing, make sure they are aligned. If you're not detail conscious, find a friend to deal with it, is take a look through my CV, do it again. I spent an hour and a half yesterday with the CEO of a large pharmaceutical company reworking her CV. It took us an hour and a half. We went through it again, right? Making sure that every semicolon is in the right point, that every bullet point is aligned, that the look and feel was powerful. And from the day before that, she did not have the courage to send out her CV to an opportunity in Africa. By the time we were done, she sent it all. Take the time to get your brand correctly presented before you send it out. And spelling and grammar, please listen to me now and hear, or hear me now and listen to me, or listen to me now and hear me later. Check your spelling, check your grammar. Most important is read out loud. Your eyes will deceive you, but your ears will not. Read your CV out loud and you'll pick up the errors. Abbreviations, don't use them. Don't assume someone knows what IBP is. Don't assume that they know what SAP is, right? Ensure that you write out integrated business planning, right? Make sure that you do not just make assumptions, because sometimes, yes, you'll have a supply chain professional read your CV, and sometimes it might be an HR person who's looking for one or two key things, and they did not know that IBP stands for integrated business planning, right? So don't use abbreviations. Keep my eye on the watch here. Is no fluffy words. I'm going to stop there, right? Kolofelo, check me for time, because I think we started at 5:02, and I think I had a 30-minute window, and I'd like to give some time for.
Yeah, we have about a minute.
A minute? Oh no! All right. So in short, is rebrand yourself. So all right, hold on. When in doubt, we have a motto in my house is panic slowly, right? So having said that, we're going to take a quick moment and regroup, right? 5 keys for rebranding yourself is figure out where you want it to go. Spend time to figure out where you want to be. Look for you and leverage your point of what makes you unique, what makes you stand out about your peers. Develop your narrative, create an elevator pitch for yourself, right? and reintroduce yourself on social media, a powerful LinkedIn page, do assessments, get your brand well positioned, and then prove your worth. Have staying power, promote and create and establish your track record. Walk in there and they say is a wise man or woman creates more options than they find. Don't wait for it to happen for you, is go and create them. Showcase your brand, and I will take a quick minute. I'll take a question if there are any on here, and if not, I'm going to move on to one of the first kind of rooms I can find here on the online stage. Chantal does not speak tech. I will go at the table and I will be there for the next 40 minutes or 20 minutes. If anybody's got any questions, I'm happy to take them on there. And with that, I stop sharing and
Okay.
I can hopefully see you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chantal. Once again, you delivered an outstanding presentation. You know, like I said in the beginning, guys, she never disappoints.
With love and pleasure.
Anyway, I don't know. Maybe we can go through a couple of questions quickly.
If you've got them, I'm happy to take them. But if we need to move them, happy to do that too. We're buying some grace from Sapix, right? Sapix girls, we can have 2-3 minutes.
I don't know. Do they say yes? Can we have a few minutes, Sapix?
Okay, two quick questions, right?
Okay. Okay, I see one that says, how many pages should the ideal CV be? 2 pages.
2 to 3. At your age, if you're students, 2 to 3. A good cover page that's got your bio, your education on it, maybe some work experience. 2 to 3 max.
Okay, if you have no experience at all, no internship, no volunteering at all, what are the 3 critical points one should maximize on?
Achievements then focus on your secondary education. What did you do at school, right? And like I said, the year is not over yet. Go and start working at a charity. Start playing, five-a-side soccer, right? Start doing things that do extramurals. Companies like your best and most famous management consulting houses, they don't want A's. They want A's and sport involvement, cultural involvement, community involvement. Make time the next 3 months to get that going. Next question. Last question.
Okay, last question is, let's see, if you have no driver's license but still busy at driving school, is it necessary to mention it in your CV?
I would put it on as a note, right? I would say is driver's license in progress.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Good. I think that's it.
Excellent.
Well done.
All of you on here, thank you for being on here. Sapix is my other favorite organization to be involved in. Thank you for the love and the high fives that's coming up from there. I hope that I am blessed to be part of your career going forward. I can very happily say that I have seen many supply chain or current supply chain directors through from the states that you are on. As graduates, make your name, change the world, and show the world what you got. Live your best version of you. Lots of love.
Thanks, Chantal.